Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
See? What happened? What'd you do? You had us on mute?
It was
No, I don't know what happened.
No, I'm talking
episode
about.
10.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do this again. We got the sound right. We're gonna do this again. So 1 quick minute, Paris. Welcome to another edition of the Freight Trapping Podcast. I am your host, Mr. James Roberts.
And I'm your girl, Tawana Roberts, aka the Queen of Dispatch.
And we want to welcome you tonight. Had some technical difficulties, so you guys just bear with us.
Went out again. Y'all went out again.
That's whatever.
Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
All right. Okay.
We're gonna leave what we trying to do new stuff, and we're gonna leave that alone because it keep putting us on mute. I'm like,
all right. We're in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
So we got a guest. We're gonna get right into it.
Okay.
Go. You want to introduce our guest?
Yeah. Okay. So I got social media going. I'm trying to get everybody logged in to Facebook as well. But I definitely have a special guest on this evening. And I won't have you long, Miss Paris. I know you're nervous. That's okay. But nevertheless, let me get up in here so you can see me pretty good. But nevertheless, I am extremely excited to have you here. I'm extremely excited to get you to just tell people what's your name, your company, and first let's talk about how you got into the business, because I don't really want to go into this full detail of an introduction because you're going to tell us about who you are and how you got into this industry. But I definitely want people to know that you're somebody I've worked with, and you've been a blessing. And one thing I love about you is that you're definitely persistent and you have so much passion and determination to be successful. And I love working with women like you. But I met Paris back in, I want to say we met, I want to say in the latter part of 2019, going into 2020. And so I've been knowing her for over a year now, and we work together. And she'll tell you guys how she knows me. But when I say this woman is a go-getter and she's persistent, she's determined to be successful. And I like to tell people all the time, my definition of success has nothing to do with money. It has something to do with how many people and how many lives have you been able to impact. And so without any further ado, I want to bring Miss Paris Craig on the line to tell us who she is, what she does, and how she got into the industry. Go ahead, Miss Paris.
Okay. Hello, everyone. As she stated, my name is Paris Craig. I am the owner of NJC Logistics, based here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I met with Ms. Roberts, as she stated, back in the latter part of 2019. I was interested in getting into the the transportation industry, and wanted to take her dispatching class. And so we went back and forth for a while, just kind of see what was going to be the best fit for me. And we went from there. And it's been kind of up from there. No one else in the game would help me, but I followed on Instagram after hearing her on the podcast, the other Truck and Hustle podcast.
Yes.
And so I started following you from there. And then I reached out to you and I took your purchase and took your dispatching class.
What do you mean nobody else in the game would help you?
Yeah, that's
just as far as just reaching out to other people, trying to gain information. up until recently, you guys, until Clubhouse kind of hit, people wasn't too persistent or wanted to provide people information about dispatching or getting into the trucking game. But then I came across Ms. Roberts, and she kind of invited me with open arms. Like, hey, if you want to do it, as long as you give 100%, I'm going to provide you with the tools and knowledge that you need. But it's up to you what you can do with it and how far you can go. And so I just took off running from there.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I never knew that. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's crazy because I hear a lot of people saying, man, I've had a hard time getting people to, help me or give me some information to get in the game. And prior to me starting my own business, I never knew that it was that difficult because back in '08, I had started a trucking company. But again, it didn't come from anyone teaching me how to start a trucking company. It just came from the fact, that I married into that industry and I'm still married into the industry. So it's been a true blessing because I've learned so much over the last 13 years outside of my own knowledge of dispatching since back in 1999. But nevertheless, I didn't know that. And I'm glad that, God allowed me to, work with you and give me that spirit of discernment, because one of the things that I typically do is from holding calls, I did consultation with you. I really get down to the bottom of it and make sure that you're getting into this industry, not just for a quick penny. Everybody hypes it up on social media and make people think, oh, you can make $4,000 or $5,000 a week dispatching. Yeah, absolutely, you can, but you can't do that with one truck. You can't do it with two trucks. You have to have trucks on the highway, especially when you're independent, especially when these carriers are new to the industry. And you have to be really ready to put in those hours and put in that work and learn how to properly plan a schedule. So with that being said, how did your journey start with the dispatching? So you got the training that you purchased, and then from there, kind of what happened, because everybody finds their niche, right? So
Correct.
some people like me, I specialize in flatbeds and dry vans. Everybody doesn't operate with semis, flatbeds, and dry vans. Some people may want to work with cargo. Some people may want to work with reefers. Some people may want to work with the RGN. Some people may want to work with low bar, that oversized hauler. Some people may want to work in the box truck lane. So tell me, how did you start when you started dispatching, and how did you start navigating to, the lane that was comfortable for you?
Okay. So if you guys don't mind, I actually want to go about a little bit further to kind of tell you, give you some background in reference to how I actually got into the transportation industry. So I've always worked.
Harris,
Yes, sir.
Take your time.
Okay. So I told you I'm really nervous, but so I've always been in human resources. But then from human resources, it led me to a human resource position in corporate America at a chicken company. And so I started being a driver manager and over the trucks at this large poultry company here in my area for corporate America. So I was dispatching there, working around the clock, 24 hours. Basically, it came down to they felt like I wasn't old enough to be in the game, and plus my color, and then I'm a woman, which is kind of what we face whenever we first come into the transportation industry as women. You have to really be up on your game when coming in this industry because you deal with so many men. And so basically from there, it went to the company kind of told the job that I was working for, hey, we don't like her. So either you got a choice to keep your contract or get rid of her. And so, of course, you know what they did. And actually, as I stated, that was during the time that I had been reaching out to you because I wanted, even though I was working this job, I wanted to make my own company. So I was kind of still straddling the fence, but I had started talking to you in the time being. So after that occurred and they terminated me, I just said, well, okay, I've been putting in all this work for everybody else. Why don't I step out on faith and do it myself?
Yeah.
And so when I spoke with you and you encouraged me and I took the course, I said, well, okay, let me start. I was confused. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to start because you got to understand I was transitioning from corporate America side of transportation, getting into the actual logistics side. So it was a little different. And like you said, everybody has their different niche and what type of equipment they deal with coming into the game. Well, I was having a hard time finding 18-wheelers, driving in flatbeds. A lot of people was coming to me with box trucks. I hated box trucks at first. I'm like, it ain't no money in it. I just don't want to do it. So I don't know if it was God or what, but it was just like everybody kept calling me about the box trucks. And I said, you know what? I'm here in the Charlotte area. Let me see if I can't find a niche whenever it comes to these box trucks. And so kind of from there, I went door to door. What you teach in your dispatching class is direct shippers. So I went, like I said, I started here in my area, calling Chamber of Commerce, just doing the research of the information, of the tools and resources that you provided me in the course. And just kind of, like I said, just kind of went from there, door to door, giving out my cards, letting them know, hey, I'm a new logistics company in the area. How can I assist your company? And so I just started having a lot of contacts for LTL, which is less than loads.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of used it to my advantage. Took off from there.
Man, that's great. I think you got a good. You was kind of like me when it came down to them box trucks. I was like, nah. So my question is, how difficult as a woman in this industry is it for you, or how easy has it been, or is there a happy medium you found, in the time you've been dealing, in transportation industry?
Well, I would say it's definitely not easy. So if you're not a go-getter and if you don't have a humble spirit, this game is not for you. Find something else to do because it's not for you. And like I said, more so anything, you just have to be determined because it's going to be days they're going to close the door in your face. No, I'm not interested, and hang up the phone. But just remember, for that one no, how many yeses can you look forward to? And so I just look forward for the yeses because, I'm used to it by now.
And it's crazy because, to be honest with you, when I started dispatching, every carrier that reached out to me primarily had an 18-wheeler with a flatbed. I don't know what it was. I did not get a lot of box trucks calls when I started dispatching. I did get a lot of hot shots, but not the box trucks, right? So I definitely get what you're saying. It's so funny because, one of the things I tell people all the time, even I told you, don't turn nobody away, because I saw someone that took my training, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just being honest and real. I saw someone that recently took my training out of Georgia, and she hasn't really dispatched, and she said dispatching isn't for her. But yet I've seen that she's out there trying to tell you how to be a dispatcher, right? It's so weird. But one of the things that I always preach is never turn anybody away. You can't tell somebody to find out what your niche is when you haven't even dispatched. You don't know what it is yet. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to go in. And I always told y'all, don't turn anyone away, because you never know how big your business is going to grow and the connections you're going to make in this industry where you're needed. So
exactly.
when you start building your business and your book of business, you build relationships with all these carriers, because you may get into a situation where a logistics manager out of nowhere just reaches out and say, hey, Paris, I need 4 26-foot box trucks. Hey, Paris, I need 2 48-foot flatbeds. I know we talked about 2 months ago and I didn't have anything for you, but I got something now. And then now you have that database that you're building, right? Where you can go and say, hey, Mr. Steve, I got some work for you. Got a direct shipper, just hit me up. Never turn anyone away, because
you're exactly right.
You don't know yet what your niche is. Mm-hmm. So you said you hated the box truck game initially. So how did you get your first truck?
In reference to, okay, well, actually, I'm gonna tell you a strange thing, because right before this call, a few moments before this call, a direct shipper that I'm actually currently working with, that I have a contract with, he just texted me a few moments ago. He wanted me to provide him with a quote for some power only units and flatbeds. And he started my quote off with $3 for power only units. So I'm super excited. And so that's how it just goes to show, in reference to building rapport and never turning down anyone. Because like I said, whenever I talked to them initially 2 weeks ago, we started on box truck contract, and look how the doors have opened to lead us into, me submitting quotes for power only and flatbed. So now this is just going to open lanes for me to go ahead and start getting that larger equipment that I haven't worked with yet. So
wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Because let me tell you why I say that. Girl, I know what the numbers looking like right now for the semis. That's a blessing. Congratulations. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've met some amazing people over the last 2 years training. And it's weird because some of these people think I'm new to the game. I'm true to it. I'm just not in the limelight. You feel me? I just don't, I'm just not in the limelight. But I've trained most of all of these women on the dispatch side that's been out here, or either most of them done peeped into my course and stole my training.
It's a lot of those type people out there. Get your own, get your own. You can't teach somebody else. What's for somebody else is not for you. Remember that.
But that's amazing. I'm so happy for you, because I'm telling you, I remember days, girl, Paris would text me, and people don't understand why I give my mobile number to my clients, because I don't care how busy I am. I'm on calls every day. I'm on Zooms. I'm working with PR. I'm doing a lot. We're building a whole training academy here in the city of Houston.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we do so much, but yet I still made a promise 2 years ago. Hey, if these people find enough, they find me and my program to be appealing to them, to where they want me to teach them this industry, and they're willing to invest in my program as well as themselves, absolutely, I'm gonna let you call me, baby. Paris Blue. Oh, baby, you blowing me up. And I'll be like, Lord, here go Paris. But I always answered, didn't I?
You did. And if you couldn't, then you would definitely call me back or text me back. You definitely.
I always answer, because I was trying to figure out, what is she doing? Do she want to do box show? Does she want to do 18-wheeler? But then I didn't get the calls or text no more. I say, Paris done found her niche. And then I started seeing you on social media. I said, that's my girl right there. That made me feel amazing. I love to see those type of testimonials. I love to get those testimonials, because it just tells me that what we're doing with the training program, people are really taking, what we are providing you guys is with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to go out here and build your own business. And even if you didn't want to go and become an entrepreneur, you could have taken the skills that you learned in this program and took them back to corporate America. Right? Because we talk about effective communication. We talk about professionalism. We talk about networking. I tell you guys all the time, right? Like you said, you're going to get a bunch of no's, but there's going to be some yeses out there. I even prepare you for that mentally, even in the training, because everybody's not going to want to work with you, or every direct shipper is not going to work with you, because if you're not a broker, or and they don't even want to work with the carriers, and carriers are the ones that have the expensive policies and have the equipment. But it's your positive attitude. It's your presence. People gravitate to Paris. You use that law of attraction, and you use your professionalism, and people want to work with you. And so for that, I'm extremely excited and happy for you. And you keep doing your thing. You absolutely keep doing your thing, and being a blessing to those carriers, because if they didn't see the value in you, they wouldn't be working with you either. Now, and now that I said that, do you have a question for her?
No, go ahead.
Now that I said that about carrier, tell us about relationship building with the carriers. How important is that for you? But how important is that for the carrier to have a great working relationship with their dispatcher?
Well, this is how I feel. And as I stated, I think with dispatching in the transportation industry, you have to use other skills that you have learn throughout your career and bring them into trucking. So as I said, mine has always been human resources and customer service. So I'm always about trying to please, because what you got to understand is people go more so on the negative of you than the positive. So you got to always put out positive, so they can always, okay, well, this person, I remember her. She's good. I'll work with her, you know. So what has happened is a lot of my drivers that I work with from the past, and just word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best type of advertisement. But in reference to my carriers, I make sure whenever they bring me in, I'm very transparent. From day one, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna tell you what amount I can probably get you for the week. If it's not feasible, I'm gonna tell you, hey, it's not feasible, because a lot of owner operators come into this business and they look for a large number of what they're gonna be grossing, and sometimes, and I've called you a couple times, and you're like, Paris. That's not that they're not going to make that, and if that's what they told you, they're telling a lie. Right. And so so you have to be realistic when it comes to it. But in reference to my carriers, I just make sure that I treat them with respect, open communication, make sure I'm listening to what they say, and just build a strong relationship. Because like I said, then they'll go tell someone else, well, okay, I got this dispatcher and she's great and she's loyal, and so then somebody else will call, and so they just bring in additional carriers based off that. So
that's good. That's good. You got something?
No, I'm just saying that I'm big on relationships.
Yeah, because he's a driver first.
I'm big on relationships. So at the end of the day, I find that between broker, dispatcher, and driver, the most thing I found is always a communication barrier there, and so that still ties in with having a good relationship. If you have a good relationship, you can talk to one another on any level and have an understanding. So right. that was one of the and you said another thing, your customer service. Your customer service is very important, and that's what when she decided to do dispatching, I said, man, customer service is important. And she said that she was going to focus on that, and she ran with it. So I'm just happy to see that one of somebody that she taught that took a course can attest to the work that she's doing. And you don't get that all the time. You get people want to come in and like I said all the time, they use transportation as a trend. It's a trend for them, but it's a way of life for me.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I say. You have to look at it as long term. A lot of people come in, and even now, because everything you hear now is transportation, which is true, because it's going to be around forever. Just looking in your office or looking in your home, stuff had to get here. And it has to be brought here by a truck, so a lot of people is more so, like you said at the beginning, is getting in it for $1 instead of actually having the passion. So those are going to be a lot of people that we see that's no longer here in a year or two. So I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just thankful because, she didn't sugarcoat it. She sure didn't sugarcoat it. She said, hey, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to always have golden days. You got to go out here. You got to put the footwork in, but it's money out here to be made, but it's what you're willing to do. So like I said, with that, I just used the resources that she gave me and took the skills that I have from my previous industries that I've worked in, and I just kind of put it together. So.
And I'm glad you said that too about look around in your house. It was so funny because I just ordered some stuff through my business account with Uline, right? And when I saw the box truck that pulled up in front of my home, because I had it delivered here instead of my office, because this happened I got this shipment delivered the week before the storm happened here in Houston, and I didn't know. If I was going to be at the office or not. So I said, let me have this delivered to my house, which I should have had it delivered to my office because it's a dry eraser board, right? Pretty big. But he brought a whole pallet, right? And he was like, this your pallet? I was like, yeah, but I don't want the pallet, right? But I looked at the truck and it wasn't a Uline truck. So now that tells me you work with a third party logistics company. So now that tells me Monday my freight agent gonna be on the phone with somebody at Uline to get some of those box truck loads. You feel me?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that I'm glad you said that. And this is one of the things. This is a teaching moment for anybody that's listening. We have some amazing people here streaming live right now through YouTube and Facebook. This is a teachable moment. Because everybody wants to go into dispatching or go into brokering. You cannot broker freight. And I'm catch this nugget. You cannot broker freight and you cannot transport the freight if you can't move the freight. If you do not know how to dispatch a load, you don't need to try to go in to be a carrier, and you definitely don't need to try to go in to be a broker. You need to learn dispatching first before you can do anything else, because dispatching is the foundation that teaches you how to move and plan and move your freight around.
Wait a minute. Explain move, because you may have somebody who don't like a trucker. He may be like, move. What you mean? You gonna drive? No, explain what you mean by move.
No, what I just said. So again, what my statement was is you don't need to become a carrier if you do not know how to dispatch. So this has nothing to do with a trucker. This is specifically planning freight, to move the freight, to dispatch the freight out to the carrier, to pick it up and deliver it. You cannot, and I'm not gonna say you cannot, but you should not try to tackle that beast until you've mastered dispatching. Because like I said, most people call me and say, oh, I was calling for a consultation because I want to become a carrier, right? Well, so you already know how to dispatch your truck, right? You don't, what lane are you going to run? Do you know what type of equipment you want to operate? Like, nobody knows anything. But that's why I always tell people, you need to learn dispatching first, because dispatching is going to tell you what type of equipments are out there, the terminology, the effective communication skills that you need. It's going to talk about lingo. It's going to talk about how to operate and navigate load boards, how to properly even invoice for your services. If you cannot do those duties first and properly navigate, if you don't even know how to read a map, you don't be trying to be a carrier. You don't need to try to broker freight. So that's what I was saying, is that it has nothing to do with the truck drivers. This is people that want to get into the industry but have no knowledge or skills of it. The first step is learn some dispatching first, because one of the things is to save on overhead, right? You learn dispatching and then become a carrier and move your own truck around throughout the United States, or locally, regionally, or over the road, however you want to operate your business. But learn the dispatching aspect of the game first before you try to go into the other lanes. So that was my statement.
I just want to take a moment. You guys take a breather. Get you some refreshments. I want to do a real quick advertisement while we're here. As you can see, Millionaire Freight Trapping hoodies are in. You can see them back here on the wall. We have the apparel in. Get your hoodies. I don't care what you do. Box truck, drive a bus, carry kids. If you carry if you carry cotton, if you carry pipes, it don't matter if you do freight. You freight trapping, man. You trying to make it to your million. You trying to make it to your million mile. You trying to make it to your $1 million.
Yeah.
You trying to make it to something million, and you doing it through freight. So you are a freight trapper.
And not only that, anybody that's really in the game, that's moving freight, you're in this game to make millions, because this is a $1 billion industry. So nobody's a carrier. Nobody's just a dispatcher or a broker, and they're not thinking about building a 7-figure business. So this is for anybody that's building their legacy and building their careers in this industry, and not even necessarily a millionaire. But if you go to work every day and you've been working for your company 10, 15, 20 years, dealing with freight, millionaire freight trapping, baby.
So you have to have that millionaire mindset.
You have to have a millionaire mindset, and sometimes you can put on something that says millionaire, and it'll give you that mindset. So we're gonna post. We're gonna have the link in the bio. We're gonna have link in the description box, so where you can go and purchase the hoodies. Get your hoodies while they're here. We got to make another order. I hope your size is still in. And the next thing I want to say, man, is I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want you to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on in and subscribe. Just hit that little like button. Just hit that little bell over there, baby. And we can go straight forward with this. That is
Thank
all.
you.
Go ahead.
Okay, Sophia had a message for you, Miss Paris. She says, "Congrats on your success, Paris. How do you find loads for box trucks? I have a company that wishes to utilize their empty trucks when they are not being used for moving jobs. They signed me on as a dispatcher, and it's been a challenge finding LTL loads for them."
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Sophia. What I would say is research your area or research the area that those trucks are located in, see what type of market area that they are in, and just start reaching out, whether it's, as I stated, whether you start door to door works better with me. Whether you start going face to face, doing your cold calling, or just kind of build rapport with brokers, and then just go from there. Then just start seeing, because trucks are everywhere. When you get in your car, and even if you just ride to the store, you're going to see a truck, whether it's a box truck, whether it's a drive-in, whether it's a flatbed, and just start taking notice to what you see in your area of what trucks are going where, and then just start reaching out to those companies, seeing if they have freight that you can move for them, and introducing yourself. So even if they don't have it right now, if you leave that information and send a follow-up email every couple of weeks, they'll reach out to you. Consistency is always the key. As I said, one of the box truck contracts that I just secured maybe about 2 weeks ago, I have been reaching out to this company, I want to think since September. Like I said, I do book of business. You hear about book of business all the time. On the broker side, you don't hear about it a lot on the dispatching side, but I do a lot of cold calls. So what I do is I put the contact information, whatever they stated when I was on the phone with them, and I'm just always following up. So like I said, just so happened, I've been reaching out to this company since September. They never replied, but every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll send them an email. Hey, this is Paris from NJC Logistics. We still have these trucks in your area if you need some freight moved. And they kept my information, and I guess they seen how consistent I was with always reaching out to them, that they called me up. I was one of the first people that they reached out to in reference to the contract, and I was able to secure it. So like I said, just kind of consistency and just researching that area and seeing what type of freight they have and go from there.
Girl, you got me over here blushing and smiling because I'm proud. I'm like a proud mama, because you don't hear a lot about building a book of business with dispatching. But that's something I always tell all of my clients. You need to pay attention to those BOLs. That bill to ship to will tell you and paint you the prettiest picture you ever need to know. People don't understand that, because you want to be an asset to your carrier. Yes, you're going to use the low board from time to time, especially if you're a new carrier. But the goal is to build the relationships with doing cold calling to reach out to direct shippers. But you still want to build a relationship with brokers, especially brokers that's not out here putting out cheap freight. But that's good right there, Paris. Thank you for saying that, because I always talk about that. You build your carrier list and you build your book of business. You start looking at those bill of ladings and see who's paying those invoices. That's your shipper. Okay, that's who you need to be trying to reach out to. You need to utilize McRae's Blue Book. What I told you about McRae's, Paris.
She did. She told me.
That's a beast right there. Everybody don't know about McRae's Blue Book. Everybody claim, I've been, they go to they be all into the hype on social media, but McRae's is a beast. You can find pretty much all the shippers that's in that directory in your city. So like McRae's Blue Book, that's another one. And Kenneth Richardson said that's some very powerful knowledge. It is. And Ken knows me very well. I've dispatched him all over the United States. And Ken is killing the game. Him and his son, they got them some trucks out there now on the road. They killing it.
We got to get Ken on here.
We got to get Ken on here to interview, because this is a veteran right here. Mr. Ken is a beast out here in these streets. He plays no game. And we definitely want to get Mr. Ken on the podcast.
And see, the thing about the podcast is we're bridging the gap.
Yes.
Between the driver, the dispatcher, and the broker, and we're kind of allowing the brokers and the dispatchers to kind of calm some of the misnomers that drivers have about dispatchers and brokers. Because I had a lot as a driver, I had a lot as an owner operator, I had a lot. So I would love for that's why I love to have both sides of the game on, and so that we can understand how this trucking thing goes around 360 degrees. Because I was, I learned some stuff while my wife been in this game. I learned some stuff on my own that I respect owner operators. I respect brokers. I respect dispatchers because it takes everybody to help this stuff move up and down this highway safely. And so that's why when she got into it, I said, if you're gonna get into it, do it. And she said she was gonna do it, and she's doing it.
And shout out to Arabia. Is that your baby?
That's my baby.
Yeah. I thought somebody said something. I thought
that's my biggest supporter. Yeah. So look, I'm building generational wealth. So after this, this dispatching business just opened up other doors for me as well. And I want to leave something to my children. So she's definitely learning the game. So yeah, it's a team. It's definitely a team duty over here. Yes,
oh yeah. That's a blessing.
And see, I don't realize that with this transportation, trucking been around since 1910.
Yeah.
Really before that, because even they used to move freight by horse and carriage.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So this is an old industry, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't care what kind of truck you put on the highway. I don't care what stipulations you put on it. I don't care what kind of regulations you say you have to have on a truck. They're not going nowhere, because when it moved by train or plane, it's gonna have to come to a truck in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to decide what you love doing the most.
Yes,
you know right. I love going to work. I love driving trucks. I don't get up. I've said this plenty of times. I don't get up in a funk to go to work.
Nope.
I love what I do.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I just hate when you run across people who just in it trying to make money, and that's what mistakes are made. That's what new regulations come in at when you start making mistakes. I spoke about a company probably about 2 weeks ago that had a 16-year-old driver in the seat. They weren't worried about his life. They weren't worried about the safety of the public. They just wanted to make money having a 16-year-old in the seat. So,
and I want to read Miss Avery Robinson. That's my maiden name, Avery, just in case you didn't know. That is my maiden name, Robinson. The driver needs the dispatcher and broker just as much as they need us. Period.
Yes. And that's my best friend, you guys. So hey, Avery.
Hey, best friend.
So we kind of do we do this together. Like I said, she's a driver. She's been driving now for about 2 or 3 years. So I'm always calling her, keeping her on the sideline, like, hey, Avery, this driver said this. What you think about this? Because we do sometimes as dispatchers, we don't understand where the actual drivers are.
I don't mean to cut y'all, but what does she drive?
She drives 18-wheeler. Drive vans.
We would love to have her on for an interview. Listen, let me tell you something. Women are very fastly coming into this industry, and they're making their mark.
Yep.
And I mean, I want drivers, period. But when it comes to women in the industry, I would love to pick your brain to figure out, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about driving? You know what I mean? I know how a guy feel. I talk to him every day, but we have a couple of women at where I work at. But over the road, how do I want to pick her brain, or any female? I just want to know, how do you do it? Because do you have kids? How do you manage that? You know what I mean? I just want to know.
Be amazing.
I just want to know.
Avery,
she does. Her daughter actually gets on the road with her from time to time, and so it's like
a family thing. Don't tell her story. I don't want you to tell.
Okay, I ain't gonna tell her story, but she'll reach out to you guys and she'll tell y'all her story. When I tell you, she has a testimony to tell. When I tell you guys, she has a testimony to tell.
Send her the link to schedule her own interview.
Okay.
We're gonna change the dates because we're gonna do something a little different. But we if we can get her and we can do the interview on a Friday evening, that's perfect. But send her that link that you have already, and we'll
Okay.
put it on the schedule because we've been waiting on you, Avery, at the door.
Yeah.
We've been waiting on you at the door.
What we've decided is we started this thing on Sundays to see how it was going to kick off, how it was going to jump off. I realized that drivers need their rest. So I've decided I want to interview drivers, dispatchers, everybody, but I want to do it where everybody's comfortable. That way, when you can schedule your time, we can let you know, okay, this is when we could do it. We're going to record it, and then we're going to upload it.
Yep, we'll upload it.
I love doing live. Don't get it twisted. I'm still going to come on live, but I want to have the drivers do it to where, I'm at home, I'm on my 34-hour, I got an hour. You know what I'm saying, that I can give you. So that's why we came up. That's why we came up with that format, and it's coming soon.
Okay, perfect. Well, I definitely have. I've been networking with a couple of dispatchers. So we have a dispatcher group, and we call ourselves the North Carolina Millionaires, CTG Millionaires. And so I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the Recovery Chicks, but it's about 10 of us. But from us networking, they have built a recovery team. And like I said, I'm not taking away from my own shine, but it's so many women out here that's doing a thing in the game right now, you guys. And so what they do, they go to recover trucks from different areas of people. You know, an owner-operator truck is abandoned, the driver abandoned. They send someone out there to recover the truck and bring it back in. So I would like for you guys maybe to speak with them and see, if you can bring them on the show, because like I said, being that you have a format, a stage front where people can actually come on and talk and hear your stories, because it's so much information and knowledge out here. People have taken it for granted. People want to charge. I definitely understand, you can't just give up your time, and you're worth every time for free. But what about giving back? We all had to start somewhere. So, I'm real big on that. But real quick, just before I forget, because I wanted to piggyback something that you said, Mr. Robertson, kind of dropped some box truck gems. Earlier, you stated in reference to stuff coming in air and sea. And so, y'all, that has been something that has been a great resource and tool that I've used. So anybody, any dispatcher that's on here, any owner operator that has a box truck, definitely utilize you guys airports and warehouses around the airports. I always tell any carriers that I work with, definitely look into getting your TSA and TWIC card. That's very helpful. It extends, in reference to you opening yourself up to more opportunities and possibilities, as well as even your hazmat. I've been having a driver that I've been sending to do maybe a 30-mile run that has his hazmat, and they've been paying us $800 to $1,000 for a load. So, as I said, once again, this is just some box truck gems that you guys just maybe want to take notes on, but definitely look in your area as far as anything coming in through the ports and the airports. So definitely take advantage of that. It's a lot of money to be made in those areas that people forget about. And so they more so do go to brokers, but you can go to them directly yourself and make a lot of good money, whether it's local or on the road.
What book was Mr. Ken talking about?
I think we're talking about that business of the B.O.B.
The Book of Business. It's not a book. It's not a book that you buy, Ken. The Book of Business is what you create.
What was the other book? You said Blue Book, or what was that?
Oh,
McRae.
Yeah. Okay, let me send you the link here, Ken. In the comments, it's McRae's Blue Book. That's what it is. .com. And so there's the link there. I just put it on Facebook and on YouTube. That let me tell you something. When you go on to McRae's, you can literally just go straight to the search engine, and it's going to ask you what product are you searching for, right? So would you just put in pipes, right? So then it'll give you like all of these results on pipes, steel pipes, coil, all these different types of pipes. And then you click on whichever hyperlink, which is it's going to have like a number with an underline, right? So click on that number. It may say 1,001. That just means that there are 1,001 shippers in that directory that specialize in steel pipe. You click that number and it's going to give you all of those shippers. And then on the far right, you'll see it broken down by state. So then you click your state and it's going to be broken down by cities. And man, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I go up in there, even now, because I'm a freight broker. So even just last week, I went through it and I pulled about 600 shippers out of there because I have 2 freight agents that's working for me now. And one of them will be starting tomorrow. And so she's going to start the cold calling process for me.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of something you said. When we training and when I do an assessment of a driver and I ask them, what are you trying to get? They always just want to get the bare minimum. I just want to get my license. I just want to get that A on my license. And I give them free game. Just like on this podcast. I give them free game. Hey man, if you go in there, especially at this time when you have to have an appointment to the DPS office, if you go in there and you sit down, why just sit down for the bare minimum?
Right.
You're limiting yourself. You're putting handcuffs on yourself for when you do go in and you want somebody to give you a chance so you can get your experience up. You want somebody to give you a chance because you don't have all the years that it requires for them to hire you. So if you go up against another candidate that may have tickets on his records, but he has every endorsement they need, but you go in there, you don't have no tickets, but you don't have any endorsements. You just got an A. Right. Guess who they're gonna pick? I'm gonna take a chance with this guy who got 2 tickets, which was 2 years ago, but he got all his endorsements. I can put anything on this truck and I'm going to make money with him. So that's how I explain it to him, man. Don't put handcuffs on yourself. Don't limit yourself by just going and get your A. Get everything you can get, from your doubles, your triples, to your tankers, to your hazmat. Go get your TWIC card. Now, of course, I ask them, I give them, what it requires for a TWIC card, because, you can't be on parole or probation or anything like that. And then I think you have to be off of parole or probation for 5 years before they even give it to you again then. And then with the hazmat, you have to be off parole or probation for so long if you have a drug offense when it comes to hazmats. So I also tell them that so they won't be spinning their wheels and wasting their time. But I do tell them, man, as soon as you can, get it. And that was real. It's little nuggets like this that, as a consultant, I would tell you behind the scenes. But like you say, some things are meant to be just given away so that God can give you more.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, that's the platform we have. We built this whole thing on our own, on our backs. We don't ask nobody for a dime. That's why I don't worry about, who coming in. We don't worry about that. We just giving knowledge, because at the end of the day, as I interview people who've been driving truck for 30 years, as I interview people who's in the broker game, in the dispatch game, as we talk to people who are different in different fashions of the industry, I learn. I've been in the game for almost 17 years. But at the end of the day, I still learn. I tell my wife all the time, if you run across a trucker that tell you he know everything about trucking, stay the hell away from him, because he's prone to lie to you somewhere. Mm-hmm. No trucker knows everything. I run into a new issue every day. Now, I'm not gonna say every day, but I run into something new, periodically, that I'll be like, damn, man, either I knew it or I forgot it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I have ran and driven over all of the different lanes that you can talk about. So, man, that was some good knowledge you dropped.
Yeah. Now, also, TSA currently right now, you can get your TSA and TWIC card. Usually it's $150. They're actually currently running a sale on it for $105. So I'm telling all my carriers right now, or my owner operator.
Mine too. I've been trying to. It's been on my mind to get my TWIC card for the last 2 months. I even have my certification to be a pilot car escort. I have that. That's another credential that I wanted. So I got a lot of stuff up my sleeves. I'm finna get ready to do one more certification through DOT, where I will be a certified DOT investigator.
Okay. Well,
So yeah,
congratulations.
because we need more people out here to help these owner operators prepare themselves to really get and be in compliance with FMCSA policies and procedures to make sure they are operating legally. You know what I'm saying? And
Right, right.
there's so many people that don't care, but I care about you guys. So stay tuned for that. Miss Sophia said, Paris, do you work with refrigerated box trucks? What are your thoughts on them? On the need for those refrigerated box trucks.
Now, Miss Sophia, I haven't personally myself worked with the refrigerated box trucks. However, what I will tell you to do is you can go to the DAT board and look at some of those brokers that's requiring a refrigerated box truck. And even if it's not in your area, write down their information, give them a call, let them know, hey, I have carriers in this area and they're refrigerated, and just give us a call, if you ever have something in the area, or can I get on your email list? With trucking and dispatching, you guys, we just have to think outside the box. We can't limit ourselves into a box whenever it comes to different, thinking or perspectives in reference to getting load and trying to find freight.
Right, right, right. And so at the end of the day, me personally, refrigerated box trucks, man, that's I mean, you just got to know what you're doing with refrigerated anything,
Mm-hmm.
because you can lose a little bit of money, because if you lose anything, what happens is, like the fruit, vegetables, if they go bad, you'll be charged off on that. And so at the end of the day, that refrigerated thing is just, it's real sensitive. You
It's
know.
real iffy. But
Yeah.
Miss Sophia, if you do choose to do it, as they stated, I guess you would just have to see in reference to your risk that you want to take. Also, I recommend calling different produce centers in your area. You can also, as she said, go on McRae's. They have stuff in reference to fruit. Put in fruit and use that to your advantage and reach
I
out
have
to shippers.
I have a whole shippers list straight for produce.
Right. And
if,
you
you're in my
use that,
program,
right.
if you're in my program, you take my program, you can have it.
Yeah. So take advantage of it. Also, some more box truck gyms. Any dispatchers or owner operators, if you have more than 3 months, I would recommend you guys getting on Millhouse. Millhouse is excellent. They will send you 1,000 emails every 2 minutes. But right now they're paying really, really good for freight. I know a couple months back, I haven't used them in a while, but they send me good emails all the time. But sometimes they'll give you up to like $3, $4 per mile. I know right now I won't take anything under 250 per mile for my box truck. So
I'm
Okay.
gonna just say this here, as far as the rate goes for trucking. You know, some things, come. My pastor spoke on. You have to go through it. You got to have a negative in order to have a positive outcome. And the pandemic was a very negative. Uh, it was a very negative situation that we all incurred. Millions of hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives. Families were hurt by it. But like he said, from a negative, when a negative is hit, it's always a positive. And so at the end of the day, in '08, trucking took a major hit from '08 all the way up into like 2010, 2012. The rates just plummeted. I'm talking about plummeted. You had people going in getting loads, and they were blaming the brokers, but the brokers couldn't do anything because the shippers were, and then you go in there, and the way we look at it as drivers, see, by the time the load get to me, I get my cut has been stepped on 3, 4 times. So at the end of the day, what's happening right now, I see is that the rates are slowly starting to creep back up. I don't think they'll ever get to where that was back in 1980, 85, that was the best. Those were the best years in trucking. Now, I mean, they some people built their company off of the money they got paid in the '80s for trucking, but I think the rates are starting to get back to where everybody's happy. You know what I mean? Where everybody can see, oh, okay, I'm getting paid for finding this load for this guy. I'm getting paid for, you know, putting his load on the board, and the driver feels he's been compensated for the miles and for the for the when you have it, for the labor that he has to put in to get a load somewhere safely from point A to point B. Because I read, you know, I check in the trucker news, and I have a news segment that I do and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a company, they bumped up the rate. They changing the game. They paying their drivers. I mean, they used to pay drivers $25 to talk. I'm talking about. I used to get paid $25 to talk in 6 below weather, drilling mud out of Epping, North Dakota. I'm talking about $25. Now a company is paying their driver $100 to talk, because drivers turn down top loads all day long.
Oh yeah, yep, I know.
They turn them down. But
ain't that right, Ken?
Yeah,
Ken say I'm too old to be hopping on top of them.
Yeah, but you know, they're changing the game now.
But if the money right,
yeah, when you bump it up, because I mean, some places they got talk stations, but at the end of the day, for a driver, it's not the worst load, but that's the load that you would least likely want to do. You would do it if you have to, especially if you're trying to get back home. So yeah, the money's getting good again.
Oh boy. Well, I'm telling you, this has been a joy and a treat to talk to you today, Paris. I told you we were going to have you on here. We wasn't going to have you on here long. I mean, it's Sunday. And I know that we want to get back to our loved ones, but I really appreciate you told us how you got in the industry. You told us how you found your niche. You've shared so many gems with the people. Tell us if you're planning on doing anything as far as like even as for yourself. Are you going to plan on doing anything educational wise? Are you going to, you know, try to get out there and help some women master, you know, working in the box truck lane? What else is there for you, Ms. Paris? And because we want to, you know, get that out of you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I did build this company. As I stated, I built this dispatch and it actually opened up avenues so that I can be an owner operator myself. But right. So hopefully by June, my goal is June to then secure my first truck. And then kind of go from there. As far as education wise, I don't see it right now. However, as I stated, I'm always open and willing to help someone. Now, I'm not going to just give you all my gems or do everything for you, but I don't mind helping others because, like I said, I know what it took for me to get here. And people were not so willing to provide me with information. So I don't mind helping. I have a networking group with some ladies, and we kind of work together as far as like just motivating each other. Yeah. Now, I definitely will be, like I said, I'm definitely open and willing to assist and with consolation. I currently do back office support anyway with my dispatching company. As of right now, you guys, I don't know. I'm taking it one day at a time. I do know that I want to have multiple sources of income coming from the transportation. As far as the education, maybe any type of courses for box trucks, not right now because I'm just learning my niche. So I would like to perfect it first. I don't want to charge anybody for something that I haven't perfected as of yet. So no, I don't see it as of right now, but definitely in the future. But what I am accepting new carriers, so box trucks, flatbeds, power only units. Definitely reach out to me. Hopefully I can provide my information, or if you can, Miss Tawana, pin my information. And like I said, I'm open and willing to assist wherever I can.
Yes, let me do that
so,
now.
Box trucks, flatbeds.
Turn that volume down. Let me pin that there. What information would you like for me to
if you could, you can just put NJC Logistics, and my contact information is 704.
Hold on one second. We're gonna go ahead. James may have a question for you.
I'm gonna do this before you get off the line and we let you go, because I want to know. I kind of like to highlight when things go on in trucking, and I think this story was just kind of it hit home for me because I know how it is on the road.
What's the? I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What's your phone number?
704
Okay.
324 1007.
So it's an article in trucking news. If you guys don't know about it, it's a truckers news that's on the internet. And it got a section in there called "She Drives," and I think it's a female reporter or someone who just finds articles, and she wrote on it on February the 9th. While on the road last month, a trucker from Georgia got a call that no one should ever get. Thomas Reese, the owner, which is he's probably the owner operator, the owner and main driver of NYOG and Sons LLC in Rex, Georgia, was on the road in Maryland when he learned his wife and 4 children died of smoke inhalation when in their home was destroyed by a house fire. Now, this man had 4 kids and his wife. The cause of the fire was electrical work. Now, the thing, what I'm saying is, the reason why they hit home because no matter where you are, whether you're driving in the city, you're over the road, 1,600 miles from home, man, that's the worst. Or even for if a wife is at home, that's the worst call you can get is that your loved ones has passed. But see, the reason why they hit me so hard was not only did his wife pass, but his 4 children passed. And for me, they called him while he was on the road, which was the worst decision they ever could have done. Now this man has to drive 12 hours back home with this on his mind. You know what I'm saying? And I call it what I used to call when I was in the truck. I used to call it with it raining on the inside of his truck. Meanwhile, what I mean by that is he's crying while he's driving.
Mm-hmm.
And so that had to be that had to be the hardest 12 hours. And he doesn't have money to bury. Right. He didn't have money to bury his family. Because I think if he had it, I think he would have left his truck where it was and he would have flew home. And that just kind of hit me. And I just wanted to share that because we want to show that, man, we have a heart. Truckers get such a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? We get a rap for being hard. I mean, sometimes even a worse rap than a motorcycle gang. And so at the end of the day, man, I wanted to I always want to show the softer side of this podcast when it comes down to losing your life, giving back, having empathy for the next man or the next woman who has something going on. And so if you would like to donate to that cause, we did. I'm not telling you how much, but I did. Apex Capital created a GoFundMe. His name is Thomas Reese. Apex Capital. They created a GoFundMe. If you guys would like to donate to this family, he lost everything in my eyes. He lost everything. He has no reason to even go back to trucking. I work as hard as I do. I love what I do, but I do it mostly for my family. I do it for my kids. I do it for my wife so that she can do what she want to do, so that she could build her business, so that I can give my son and my daughter what it is they want. And so at the end of the day, when that's taken away from you, the people who you're providing for is taken away from you, man, what do I need to do it for now? You know what I mean? And so I think this would just be a upliftment for him, kind of ease some of the financial burdens. I don't care what it is, 10 or 5, if you want to. I'm just putting it on your heart. I'm just putting it out there. So if you want to read the article, like I said, it's on truckernews.com. Go to the She Drive section, and it's trucker loses home and family to fire while on the road. You got something, baby?
Okay, I see it.
Well, I am proud to say that I know you. I'm proud to say that I've had the blessing and the opportunity to help mentor you and guide you in this industry. I thank you for your testimony. I thank you for your time and you coming here to serve with the spirit of excellence and provide such amazing gems to our listeners. We've been blessed on this evening, folks. I see we have a nice little crowd on here tonight. We've been extremely blessed to have Miss Paris come on here because there are so many people in the box truck lane. And it's so crazy because at the beginning of the year, I prayed and asked God to give me an opportunity to tap into that market. And I talked to you the other day on the phone and told you how God had did just that, being approached from one of the top logistics companies in the world came directly to me and asked me to help bring in some trucks for their last mile lane. And that is huge. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. Even though I've mentored you and I've coached you, but you've been an inspiration to me. I want you to know that you have blessed my heart just seeing your passion in that particular lane, and it's really given me the passion and the go get it attitude to get into it and tap into it. And I don't want to work with too many people in this industry when it comes down to box trucks, but you. So I've already told you that I'm going to be reaching out. I want to work with you. I want to partner with you. I want to move this freight back and forth down south. We're going to get it. We're going to get it while it's good. And we're going to work together. We're going to build these legacies for our future, which are our children and our children. And so if there's nothing else, Paris, we thank you for coming on tonight. And we salute you, Queen. And I thank you for the opportunity to interview tonight and give Miss Avery our link so we can get her on here as well, so we can share her amazing testimony and give this other women listeners. We had a woman on here not too long ago who's saying that she's been praying about getting her CDLs and she wants to really drive trucks. So this is somebody we need to get on here too, so that she can be a testimony and be an influence to other women that's listening that want to get involved.
And and the thing about it is we giving honest advice. We giving true advice. We giving you real from a trucker, from a broker, from a dispatcher standpoint of view. And we talking to everybody. We want to know I'm going to let you know what you're getting into. Because it ain't all glitz and glamour. Like people I'm one of those I used to see. And I used to say, oh man, he doing it. That's what I want to do. You always see the end of the story, but you didn't see the middle.
You don't know their story. You don't know their blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. You ain't see the middle part. So that's the part that I want to know. That's the part that I want people to know. Hey man, I'm not discouraging you, but I don't want you to be discouraged when you get in it and you get hit with it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, my wife said it all. Any last words you want to leave with the listeners?
I would just say, you guys, just stay encouraged and humble. It's going to be every day is not going to be the best day. Like I said, it's definitely down days, but you got to know how to keep the faith, dust off your knees, and come back swinging even harder. To anybody coming into this game, just don't be one-sided whenever you come to thinking about transportation. Like I said, definitely use your career and your past jobs, to kind of think and what type of attribute you can play into this transportation industry, whether it's human resources, whether it's insurance, like you said, the compliance side. It's so many different roles and hats in the transportation industry.
Yep.
So, don't get, like I said, don't get caught up in dispatching, don't get caught up in wanting to be a broker. Just kind of research the industry and see how it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
That's good.
All right, honey. Well, thank you and have a blessed evening. Actually, we've read the news. We've interviewed Miss Paris. Did you have anything else?
No, I didn't. No, I don't. Well, after I read that trucker news, I don't want to read anything else because I want people to just kind of sit in that for a moment.
Yeah.
Give you a chance to kind of think about life. Because I don't ever want anybody to get that phone call because I know while I was on the road, bro, that was the God covered my family while I was over the road for 12 years. And so even as I leave home every morning, I still thank God for his covering as I leave and they're here and I'm on the road. I'm glad I come back the way I left.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, what we're gonna do while you see, we're gonna go ahead and close out while you're on. Is that okay? Okay,
Okay, that's fine.
because I want to send some energy your way.
Okay.
Because let me say one more thing. When my wife started this, I said, you're gonna build a web that's gonna start in Texas and it's gonna cross over to where it's gonna be a web of dispatcher brokers that we can all tap into. And I see it's coming. We just gotta hold fast and don't let all of the riffraff get you down. I get hot sometimes when I see some stuff on the internet and stuff, but at the end of the day, I gotta take heed to what I say. Don't let it get you down.
Right.
So I'm gonna send some energy out to our listeners, and I'm gonna say this here: as you look ahead, the past fades away. You've established your path, and the horizon before you is filled with hopeful inspiration. You're ready. So, man, you ready to take the next step into the direction of your choosing. Hey, man, that's energy going out to our listeners. Let your past fade away and move forward. This has been the Freight Trapping Podcast, and I've been your host, Mr. James Roberts,
And your girl Tawana Roberts, aka the Queen of Dispatch.
and we are and we are out.
Bye, you guys.
Told you so extra, but I know I'm the same. Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. So when it pop off, it's like, oh my, all good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we gonna date, babe. I could keep the same energy. When you go low, I'll low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we?